You're curled beneath a heavy wool cloak, the air thick with the scent of smoke and damp earth in a Viking longhouse where shadows dance across timber walls. The fire crackles, its embers glowing like the eyes of some ancient beast, and outside the wind howls through the fjords, a reminder of the gods' restless fury. This is 9th century Scandinavia, where sleep isn't the soft escape, but a battle against the cold, the dark, and the ever-present threat of enemies lurking beyond the horizon. You don't drift off for 8 hours like some soft modern soul. No, you sleep in fragments, a rhythm carved by survival, and the sun's fleeting dance across the sky. They call it segmented sleep, first sleep, then a waking vigil, then second sleep, a cycle as natural to Vikings as the tides. Picture it, the sun dips below the jagged cliffs and the longhouse hums with the day's end. You've spent hours rowing, hauling nets, or fending off the neighbour's raid, your muscles aching, your breath frosting in the chill. The clan gathers, their voices rough with mead and laughter, swapping tales of Thor's hammer or the time Sven lost a finger to a rival's axe. You share a meal, salted fish, barley bread, maybe a scrap of venison if the hunt was good, and the fire's warmth seeps into your bones. The head of the household, a grizzled warrior with scars like a map of battles, assigns the night's watch. You're lucky tonight. It's not your turn to guard the goats from wolves or thieves. Instead, you settle onto a straw-stuffed sack, your cloak still wrapped tight, your dagger close enough to feel its cold steel against your palm. Sleep comes fast heavy, pulling you under like the sea, but it's not the endless slumber you crave. 4 hours pass, maybe less, and your eyes snap open in the dead of night. The longhouse is quieter now, save for your cousin's bear-like snoring and the faint bleat of a restless goat. The fire's down to embers casting a faint glow, and the cold bites at your exposed skin. This is the first sleep done, and now you're awake. Not because you're restless, but because this is how it's done. You're not broken. You're Viking. This midnight waking is no curse. It's a gift. A moment to tend the fire, sharpen your blade, or steal a glance at the woman across the hearth. Her eyes catching yours in the flickering light. A spark of something forbidden igniting in the frost. This isn't insomnia. It's survival. The Vikings, those fierce Norse seafarers, who raided monasteries and carved empires from ice, didn't cling to the modern obsession with unbroken rest. Their world was raw, unforgiving, and sleep was just another tool to endure it. You rise your breath clouding in the chill and move quietly to avoid waking the others. Maybe you stoke the fire, the wood popping like a warning shot. Maybe you whisper a prayer to Odin asking for strength against the shadows. Or maybe you just sit your thoughts drifting to the blood feud brewing with the next village, your fingers tightening around the axe at your side. This is your life, and sleep is no escape. It's a battlefield where vigilance reigns. You're awake now, the longhouse, a maze of shadows and soft snores, the fire's embers pulsing like a dying heart. The midnight interval stretches before you, a strange pocket of time between first and second sleep where the world feels both still and alive with possibility. You shift on your straw bed, the coarse wool of your tunic scratching against your skin, and feel the weight of the dagger at your hip, a reminder that even now danger might lurk. Outside the wind moans carrying whispers of frost and betrayal, but here in this smoky warmth you're alive, alert, and ready to seize the night. Your stomach growls a low rumble that cuts through the quiet. Hunger is no stranger in this harsh land where every meal is earned with sweat or blood. You reach for a strip of dried cod, its salt sharp on your tongue, and chew slowly, the act grounding you in the dark. Others stir nearby, a woman tends the fire, her silhouette sharp against the glow. Her movements deliberate, almost ritualistic. You catch her eye, and for a moment the air hums with unspoken tension, her calloused fingers brushing yours as she hands you a bowl of warm stew. The heat of the broth, the heat of her gaze, it's a fleeting spark in the cold one you both know could burn down the fragile piece of the longhouse if you're not careful. This midnight hour isn't just for eating. It's for thinking, for weaving the threads of your life into something that makes sense. You sit by the fire, its light flickering across your scarred hands, and ponder the raid planned for dawn. Will you return with gold, or will your blood stain the snow? Some Vikings, the sagas say, believe dreams from the first sleep carried messages from the gods. You recall yours a raven circling a burning ship, its core sharp as a blade. Is it a warning or a promise? You mutter a prayer. Your voice low, asking Freya for clarity, for courage, for a chance to taste victory or at least die well. Across the longhouse a couple stirs their whispers soft but urgent. The firelight catches the curve of her neck, the intensity in his eyes, and you look away, heat rising in your chest. This interval, this quiet between sleeps, is when hearts speak loudest. The sagas don't lie, many choose this hour for intimacy when the world is hushed, and the fire's glow feels like a shield against the cold. You have heard tales of lovers stealing moments in the hay, their breaths mingling like mist, their passion a defiance of the endless winter. But you also know the cost a jealous rival, a betrayed spouse, a feud that could split the clan. You grip your dagger tighter, the steel grounding you, and turn your thoughts to the tasks ahead. The fire needs tending, the livestock need checking, and your axe could use a sharper edge. You move quietly, stepping over a sleeping child and a restless dog, your boots soft on the packed earth. This is the Viking way, practical, vigilant, alive in the dark. You're not just surviving the night, you're claiming it. You feel the longship rock beneath you, waves slapping against the hull like the palms of angry gods, the salt spray stinging your face as you huddle under a sodden cloak. It's deep night, the stars piercing the sky like spear tips, and you're on watch, your eyes scanning the black horizon for the silhouette of enemy sails. This isn't rest. It's a fragile truce with exhaustion, where sleep comes in shifts, a warrior's rhythm dictated by the ever-present whisper of danger. Villages raided at dawn, livestock vanishing into the mist, rivals striking when the guard is down. The world doesn't halt for your dreams, and neither do the Vikings. You grip the oar, your knuckles white, knowing that to doze now could mean a blade in your throat before the sun rises. In the camps, or on these dragon-prowed vessels, sleep is organised like a battle line. One group slumbers wrapped in furs against the biting cold, while another stands sentinel, their breath fogging the air axes at the ready. You envy the sleepers, their snores mingling with the creak of wood, but you know the switch is coming. Your turn to collapse into that shallow repose, never fully deep, always one ear tuned to the snap of a twig or the flap of a raven's wing. It's a compromise forged in blood, no one fully rested, but no one slaughtered in their blankets. Imagine the misery, freezing rain lashing your beard, the wind howling like a banshee, and you, the loser of the dice roll, perched on the prow, dreaming of the warm hearth back home. Back in the longhouse it's no different. The communal hall buzzes with life, even in darkness. Someone always tending the fire's embers, poking at logs to keep the flames alive, listening for the howl of wolves or the stealthy footfall of thieves. You rise from your pallet, your body protesting, and take your turn, the axe heavy in your hand as you patrol the shadows. Guards in larger settlements climb lookout towers, their eyes piercing the night, bows strung tight. But this vigilance isn't mere paranoia, it's woven into the Viking soul. To sleep like the dead is to invite death lightly suspiciously with one hand on your weapon. That's the way of the warrior. You feel it in your bones, the pride swelling as you stand watch, knowing Odin favours the alert, the ready. Betrayal lurks in the quiet hours, a rival clan slipping through the perimeter, torches flaring as they set the thatch ablaze. You've heard the Saga's men cut down in their sleep, their blood soaking the earth, denied Valhalla for their carelessness. No, you won't be that fool. Even as fatigue claws at your eyes, you sharpen your senses, the cold air a slap to keep you awake. And if some slacker nods and off on a duty, a bucket of icy water or worse, a lesson from the chieftain's boot cracking ribs like dry branches. Survival demands it, culture celebrates it. You're Viking tough, unyielding, where sleep is a skirmish and victory means seeing the dawn. This endless watch shapes you, hardens you. You think of modern folk cocooned in their soft beds, oblivious to the world's teeth. Congrats on your 8 hours. Pity about the softness it breeds. Here in the frost and firelight, you're forged anew each night, ready for the raid, the storm, the betrayal that could come with the first light. You huddle in the longhouse frost, etching patterns on the narrow windows. like the scars of old battles, the smoky fire casting elongated shadows that twist like serpents across the walls. Half a dozen Norsemen lie nearby, curled under rough woolen blankets, but look closer. No one has shed their day wear, no stripping down to vulnerable skin. You're fully clothed, the wool tunic clinging to your sweat-damp body, linen undershirt, chafing, thick cloak pinned tight, and if fur's available, it's draped like armour against the encroaching cold. This isn't laziness. It's necessity, a barrier against the 9th century Norwegian night that could freeze your blood mid-vein. You feel the weight of it all, the layers trapping what little heat your body generates a survival suit in a land where hypothermia is a silent assassin. Warriors is to take it further, especially on the move or intense times. You might doze with a leather jerkin strapped on, or even bits of mail if the raid's fresh and enemies prowl. Not full chain, that'd be madness, the clink of weight turning sleep into torture, but enough to leap into action. Imagine fumbling with breeches as a door splinters a spear thrusting through the gap. No, you're ready. Boots laced, belt buckled, dagger sheathed at your side. The sagas sing of it, helmets within reach, weapons clasped, cloaks still fastened. Comfort. That's for the weak, the dead. Readiness is your creed, the cold steel a comfort against the chaos outside. In winter's grip, even farmers cling to their outer garments through the night. You trap warmth like a miser hoards gold, every layer a shield. Stripping down means courting death, the chill seeping in, like a thief turning limbs numb, breath shallow. This is Scandinavia, not some sun-kissed villa with heated floors. Here the elements are foes, and your clothes are your first line of defence. You roll over the wool scratching, but it's better than waking blue-lipped gasping. Picture the scene a raid hits at midnight. Flames licking the roof, shouts echoing. You bolt up, axe in hand, no time lost to dressing. The unprepared. They fall half-naked blades, finding easy flesh. Valhalla doesn't welcome the foolish. You feel the intrigue, 2 whispers of betrayal in the clan. A jealous kinsman eyeing your share of the loot. Sleeping armed, clothed, it's a statement trust, no one fully not even kin. A stolen glance at the woman beside you, her form outlined under the cloak sparks desire. But the layers remind you, passion waits survival first. This isn't romantic, it's raw visceral. Your body aches from the day's labours, the clothes stiff with dirt and sweat, but you endure. Moderns might scoff, but you've no luxury of pyjamas or heated rooms. You're Viking forged in frost and fire, where sleep is armoured vigilant. And in that readiness there's power, a defiance of the night, a promise to the dawn that you'll rise unbroken, ready to claim what's yours with blood if need be. The cold presses in, but you trap it out. Your breath, steady eyes closing at last. Tomorrow brings battle or betrayal. Tonight you rest like a warrior fully arrayed. You lie in the dim longhouse, the fire's embers casting a ruddy glow that dances across the blades, leaning against the walls, their edges honed sharp enough to split a hair or a skull. Your hand rests on the hilt of your axe, the cool iron, a familiar weight as comforting as a lover's touch in this unforgiving world. Never more than an arm's length from steel, that's the Viking creed etched into your soul like runes on a stone. Sleep isn't sanctuary. It's a vulnerable pause, a potential ambush where bandits rival clans, or even the spirits of the restless dead might strike. You clutch your weapon close, not as a toy, but as a lifeline, cold and pointy, warding off the shadows that creep closer in the night. The sagas whisper of it, men and women alike sleeping with swords under furs, axes beside bedrolls, or spears, wedged beneath the frame if you're fortunate enough to have one. You imagine cuddling the blade like a child might a doll, though in truth it's practicality over sentiment. Your home, that flammable wooden haven in remote wilds, invites trouble flames, licking up from a saboteur's torch, wolves, howling at the door, or a betrayed kinsman's knife flashing in the dark, unarmed in slumber. That's folly. A swift path to becoming a forgotten verse in some bard's lament. You stir feeling the dagger's pommel press into your side, a reminder of the last feud where blood soaked the snow because someone slept too soundly. Vigilance, that old Norse word, thrums in your veins. To doze carelessly is to court shame. The honourable warrior dreams with one eye open, senses attuned to the creak of a door or the rustle of footsteps. If you perish unarmed, Odin turns away, Valhalla's gates barred to the fool. You sharpen your blade by firelight, the scrape of whetstone a lullaby preparing for the dawn's uncertainties. Axes prop against posts, swords lay by pillows like silent guardians ready for that split-second leap from snore to swing. But risks lurk even here, the midnight stumble impaling a foot, an accidental slash in a nightmare's thrash. Better that than defenceless, you think, as desire stirs for the woman nearby, her breath soft, but the steel grounds you. Intrigue simmers too, a whisper of conspiracy, a chieftain's envious glare over shared loot. Your weapon isn't just defence, it's a statement of power, a deterrent to betrayal in the close quarters where alliances fracture like ice. This is your world, gritty and intense, where sleep is armed, passion tempered by peril. Moderns might call it paranoia. You call it wisdom. Congrats on your weapon-free beds. Pity the vulnerability. Here in frost and fire, your unbreakable blade in hand, ready to carve your fate from the night's throat. The longhouse settles, but your grip doesn't loosen. Tomorrow's raid looms, and with it the chance for glory or gore. You sink into what passes for a bed in this harsh realm. A sack stuffed with straw and moss, itching against your skin like 1,000 tiny needles shared with whoever's closest in the longhouse's communal sprawl. No romantic four-poster draped in furs carved from ancient oak. That's a tale for scolds and dreamers. Unless you're noble with silver from raids lining your pockets, your rest is rudimentary. A platform of wood or a bench by the hearth. Warmth prioritised over softness. You feel the lumps, the prickles, but it's better than the frozen ground outside where death whispers in the wind. For the elite, archaeology reveals grandeur bed frames unearthed from graves ornate with carvings of serpents and gods, box-like enclosures that trap heat like a fortress. Curtains might hang, blocking drafts and snores, a private nook in the chaos. But you're no Jarl. You're common, sprawled on the floor or a raised ledge built into the wall, a wooden shelf where you curl under sheepskins or old sails. Softness, relative a pile of wool if lucky. Hay if not the scent of earth and smoke clinging like a shroud. The longhouse isn't divided into rooms, it's one vast space kitchen, merging with bedroom stable, bleeding into it all. You huddle near the central fire, its crackle a hypnotic rhythm elders and the ill claiming. The prime spots their bodies, and frail shields against the cold. Children pack in like pups, animals adding their heat in a tangled mass, human, and beast in a survival sandwich. Romantic hardly, efficient, undeniably as body warmth combats the frost that could claim toes or lives. Cleanliness is a battle lost. You shake out the straw when it reeks of urine or worse fleas hopping like tiny demons. No mattress flips, no lavender sprays, just endurance, the grit of life embedding in your pores. Better this than a ship's deck waves crashing, or outdoors under stars that mock your shivering form. You're chasing warmth, not dreams, eyebrows free of frost come morning. Intrigue weaves through even here, a stolen glance at a servant girl, her form close in the press. Desire flaring hot as the embers. But status dictates position chieftain central warm. Outcasts by the door, chill seeping in. Betrayal could strike a knife in the dark over a grudge, violence erupting in the shared space. You keep your dagger near, vigilance unbroken. This is Viking resilience, raw and unflinching. Moderns with their plush beds, soft untested. You rise at dawn back aching, but spirit fierce, ready for the day's savagery. The bed isn't comfort, it's a brief truce fueling the fight. As the fire dies, you close your eyes, the itch. A reminder, survive the night, conquer the morrow. You sink into what passes for a bed in this harsh realm, a sack stuffed with straw and moss itching against your skin like 1,000 tiny needles shared with whoever's closest in the longhouse's communal sprawl. No romantic four-poster draped in furs carved from ancient oak. That's a tale for skalds and dreamers. Unless you're noble with silver from raids lining your pockets, your rest is rudimentary. A platform of wood or a bench by the hearth. Warmth prioritised over softness. You feel the lumps, the prickles, but it's better than the frozen ground outside where death whispers in the wind. For the elite archaeology reveals grandeur bed frames unearthed from graves ornate with carvings of serpents and gods, box-like enclosures that trap heat like a fortress. Curtains might hang blocking drafts and snores a private nook in the chaos. But you're no Jarl. You're common sprawled on the floor, or a raised ledge built into the wall, a wooden shelf where you curl under sheepskins or old sails. Softness relative a pile of wool if lucky hay, if not the scent of earth and smoke clinging like a shroud. The longhouse isn't divided into rooms. It's one vast space kitchen, merging with a bedroom stable bleeding into it all. You huddle near the central fire, its crackle a hypnotic rhythm. Elders and the ill claiming. The prime spots their bodies frail shields against the cold. Children pack in like pups, animals adding their heat in a tangled mass, human and beast, in a survival sandwich. Romantic hardly. Efficient, undeniably as body warmth combats the frost that could claim toes or lives. Cleanliness is a battle lost. You shake out the straw when it reeks of urine or worse fleas hopping like tiny demons. No mattress flips, no lavender sprays, just endurance, the grit of life embedding in your pores. Better this than a ship's deck waves crashing, or outdoors under stars that mock your shivering form. You're chasing warmth, not dreams, eyebrows free of frost come morning. Intrigue weaves through even here, a stolen glance at a servant girl while her form close in the press. Desire flaring hot as the embers. But status dictates position chieftain's central warm. Outcasts by the door chill seeping in. Betrayal could strike a knife in the dark over a grudge violence erupting in the shared space. You keep your dagger near vigilance unbroken. This is Viking resilience raw and unflinching. Moderns with their plush beds soft untested. You rise at dawn back aching, but spirit fierce ready for the day's savagery. The bed isn't comfort, it's a brief truce fueling the fight. As the fire dies, you close your eyes, the itch, a reminder survive the night, conquer the morrow. You sprawl on the packed earth floor of the longhouse, the dirt cool and unyielding. Beneath a thin layer of animal skins, its gritty texture seeping through like a constant reminder of your station. No land to call your own, no livestock lowing in the stalls, no gleaming axe bought with raid spoils. You're of modest means, perhaps a thrall or a wanderer, and this is your bed. Literal. Dirt, hopefully dry and free of droppings, but often not. The scent of soil mixes with smoke and sweat, grounding you in the raw minimalism of Viking life, where luxury is a stranger and toughness your closest ally. Inside these timber walls, the floor is compacted, earth sometimes scattered with straw to cushion the bones or absorb spills from bowls, beasts, or both. You curl up in a patch with decent fire access away from the trample of hooves, the pelt's your only barrier against the chill that rises like mist from the ground. This isn't failure, it's normal, functional, or low-maintenance existence that frees you for the real battles, raids, feuds, the endless scrape for survival. For the truly destitute, it's all there is. No benches, no slats, just furs laid down in a corner. The earth's embrace, both cradle and cage. Travellers or guests might claim a spot near the door, one step above the frozen outdoors on the hospitality scale. Welcome, but not warmly so. You lie there, the draught, whispering threats, knowing you're the first line if intruders burst in blades flashing in the night. Fun, isn't it? The earth's heat retention surprises you, trapping warmth from the fire and nearby bodies, a natural insulator in winter's vice. Pressed between kin and a hound, you thaw slowly the summer's cool, a brief mercy in this survivable hell. No back support here. No healers for twisted spines you walk it off or turn storyteller. Spinning yarns of gory to mask the pain. Yet in Viking eyes, this isn't shameful. It's admirable, a badge of resilience. Luxury breeds suspicion's softness, the scorn of peers. If you can rise from dirt axe in hand, ready to pillage a monastery, you're thriving. Intrigue simmers even on this lowly bed, a rival, eyeing your meagre spot, a whispered plot to claim it through betrayal or brawl. Violence erupts, quick a knife in the dark, over envy blood soaking the soil you sleep on. Desire flickers too. The woman nearby shifting her warmth, the temptation in the press, but the dirt grounds you reminds you of your place. Moderns with springs and feathers, pampered fools. You forged in earth's unyielding grip, wake fierce, unbowed. As embers fade, you close your eyes, the ground a harsh lullaby, dreaming of raids that might lift you from this dust. You cram into the longhouse's shared expanse bodies, pressed like sardines in a barrel, the air thick with breath, snores, and the musky tang of woolen flesh. If silent space or separate chambers are your dreams, forget Viking time travel. This era turns sleeping into a communal ordeal. Families, extended kin, servants, visitors, and stray beasts, all piled in one room, often on the same platform. Not for amusement, but for sheer survival, pooling heat against Scandinavia's merciless winters, where isolation means freezing solid before dawn. The longhouse embodies open-plan chaos. No walls dividing life, just a central hearth radiating feeble warmth. People arrayed on either side like weary troops. Beds if you dignify them, so are wall-built ledges or benches, otherwise the floor claims you. You pick a spot roll in furs and ignore the uncle's garlic breath or grandma's rumbling wheeze. Closer to the fire means better odds against frostbite. Elders snag those primes, the sick huddled near children, slotted like puzzle pieces, creating a layered heat trap of human and animal forms. Arrangements mirror. Status, the household head, claims the core warmest berth. A position of power where whispers of intrigue might brew a servant, plotting uprising eyes, darting in the dark. Children fit where they can, servants and cousins relegated to edges, drafty doors, or goat-adjacent nooks. Wake with a hoof to the face, don't complain. It's personal only if the beast means it. Ventilation non-existent, the room steams with smoke, stew remnants, wet boots, and the faint rot of life crammed tight. You don't sleep through, you endure privacy, a foreign whim. Scholars say this closeness forges bonds, stories shared in firelight traumas, mutualised through proximity hearing, kin mumble poetry, or secrets in slumber. But it's gritty, a cousin rolls into your space bodies, entangling in innocent or not ways, desire sparking unbidden in the heat. Violence lurks too, a grudge erupting into fists or knives amid the pressed blood, spilling on shared furs. Trail whispers hear alliances formed or fractured in the night's intimacy. This is Viking empathy, raw resilience they fought loved, bled together, stubborn humans defying the cold. Moderns with solitary rooms, isolated weak. You wake entangled bonds, unbreakable, ready for the day's savagery. As the hearth dims, you settle in the tangle, the collective breath, a soothing if chaotic rhythm. You nestle into the longhouse's chaotic warmth. A goat's flank pressing against your side like a living furnace, its coarse wool tickling your arm as it shifts in sleep. Imagine sharing your bed with a cow, chickens clucking softly, or a pig snorting judgments into the night. This isn't eccentricity. It's Viking ingenuity turning livestock into central heating against the bone-chilling winters that could turn blood to ice. The longhouse serves all purposes: eatery, workshop, dormitory, and barn fused in one timbered hull, often divided by a mere threshold or flimsy partition, sometimes nothing at all, inviting beasts to wander into your dreams. Why this madness? Heat pure and primal. In Scandinavia's frozen grip, every calorie counts and animals radiate warmth like ember. A single cow heating a corner, a herd mimicking radiant floors. You feel it now, the bovine bulk exhaling steamy breaths that thaw your numb fingers. Chickens adding chaotic bursts of feathers and frenzy, less efficient but vital. They're not loose to roam in finer homes, stalls confine them, but escapes happen, a hoof scraping earth or a snout rooting near your ear, becoming the night's symphony blended with clucks, snorts, and the occasional judgmental oink. Cleanliness. A lost cause. The floor's packed dirt, strewn with straw, absorbs messes from beasts and bowls alike, the line between hearth and herd a hazy suggestion. Yet the trade-off sings the warmth over sterility, life over luxury. Stay cozy or perish, pristine easy math in a land where cold claims more than swords. Protecting stock from theft or frost doubles the wisdom. A raider slipping in for your sheep might meet your axe instead, violence erupting in the dim blood mingling with manure. Intrigue lurks in this menagerie. A rival eyeing your prized ram whispering plots to steal it under cover of night or a forbidden spark with the milkmaid. Her laughter soft amid the lowing desire building in the shared heat. Sensuality simmers here. Bodies close. Animal and human, the raw pulse of life undeniable. Violence too, a dispute over feed escalating to fists or worse, a knife drawn in the press gut spilling amid the straw. Vikings saw this as right resourceful, a mark of thriving, not squalor. Moderns shudder at the filth, you embrace the grit waking energized bonds with beast and kin unbreakable. As the fire wanes you drift the goat's rhythm a lullaby, the night's chaos your shield. You awaken in the longhouse's pre-dawn hush. The fire's ashes glowing faint, your body stiff from the night's vigil, but your spirit unyielding, a testament to the Viking ethos, where sleep is no gentle cradle, but a forge tempering the soul. This fragmented rest segmented, armed communal beast-warmed mirrors, a culture prizing resilience over repose where the dark hours hone the warrior's edge rather than dull it. You rise axe in hand, ready for the day's raids or rivalries, knowing last night's watch has steeled you against the world's savagery. Reflect on it. Vikings didn't chase dreamless oblivion. They embraced the night's interruptions as opportunities for intimacy, stole in firelight blades, opened amid whispers or plots hatched against foes. Vigilance defined them, sleep a light skirmish with one eye on Valhalla's gates where only the prepared enter. Toughness was currency, luxury, a suspect indulgence that softened the blade and the man. You feel the pride swelling, a defiance of frost and fate where surviving the cold, the close quarters, the constant threat forged unbreakable bonds and unbowed wills. Contrast with today's cushioned slumbers, unbroken and isolated. Congrats on the comfort. Pity the lost grit. Vikings loved fiercely in those midnight intervals, their breaths mingling hot against the chill passion, a spark defying extinction. Violence threaded through, too, a betrayal uncovered in the watch leading to bloodied furs and severed ties, intrigue, weaving through the clan like smoke. Supernatural whispers haunted the edges, dreams as omens from Odin's spirits lurking in the livestock's restless stirs, adding eerie layers to the mundane struggle. Yet empathy underscores it all. They were human, stubborn survivors, empowering the marginalized women, wielding cunning in the shadows, peasants rising through savage resolve. Sleep wasn't escape, it was continuity, a thread binding the raw realism of life, debunking chivalric myths for the truth of blood hunger and desire. As dawn breaks, you step into the light, the night's lessons etched deep. Love defiantly, love brutally, fight unyieldingly. The Viking way endures, a hypnotic rhythm of resilience echoing through time. You stand in the sweltering streets of Strasbourg, 1518, the air thick with the stench of unwashed bodies and rotting grain, famine's grip tightening like a noose around the city's throat. The sun beats down mercilessly, turning the cobblestones into a furnace, and whispers of plague and unrest slither through the crowds like venom. Suddenly a woman, Frau Trophea, stumbles into the square, her limbs jerking in unnatural rhythm. feet pounding the ground as if possessed by some invisible drummer. She dances not with joy, but with a frantic desperation, her skirts whipping around her sweat-slicked legs, eyes wide with terror or trance. This isn't celebration. It's affliction, a solitary spasm that soon infects the air, drawing stares then imitators as the madness spreads like fire through dry tinder. The year is one of unrelenting torment, crops failed under relentless rains, children starved in their mother's arms, and the Protestant Reformation's shadows loom, stirring fears of divine wrath and hellfire. You feel the collective anxiety, a palpable thrum in the air where every cough signals doom, every failed harvest a curse from above. Superstition reigns saints, punish the sinful demons, lurk in the shadows and in this pressure. Cooker. Frau Troffea's dance becomes a harbinger. She twirls for hours, days, her feet blistering blood seeping through her shoes. Yet she can't stop her body betraying her will in visceral convulsions that echo the city's inner turmoil. Others join, first a trickle and neighbour, compelled by some unseen force, her hips swaying violently, arms flailing as if warding off ghosts. Then more men and women collapsing into the frenzy, their movements charged with a dark sensuality, bodies grinding against the air, sweat mingling in the heat. Intrigue brews in the whispers. Is this St. Vitus? Curse the saint of madness, exacting revenge for blasphemy or demonic possession, spirits twisting limbs in sadistic play. Violence simmers beneath the dancers, crash into market stalls, fists flying in delirious rage, bones cracking under the strain of endless motion. You watch as the crowd swells, the afflicted numbering dozens, then hundreds. Their dances a macabre spectacle of raw humanity, lovers torn apart mid-embrace, their bodies hijacked into solitary whirls, rivals eyeing each other with heightened suspicion, paranoia fueling bets on who's next to fall. The church bells toll ominously, sermons thundering of sin and penance, while authorities scramble their solutions as futile as dousing flames with oil. This outbreak isn't just physical. It's a rupture in the soul of Strasbourg where fear and faith collide in a whirlwind of motion and mystery. The air hums with forbidden desires amplified by the chaos, a stolen glance turning into a heated press of bodies in the dance sensuality erupting in the midst of suffering. Yet violence claims its toll, a dancer's leap ends in a crumpled heap, joints dislocated, blood pooling. You sense the supernatural undercurrent folklore of cursed saints and lurking entities adding eerie layers to the human agony. As the sun sets, the dancing continues under torchlight, a hypnotic rhythm that draws you in, making you question if you'll be next, your feet itching to join the fatal waltz. You plunge deeper into Strasbourg's nightmare, the square, now a seething mass of bodies in motion. Dancers multiplying like a plague of locusts, their numbers surging from tens to hundreds in mere weeks. The initial curiosity turns to horror as the afflicted writhe leaps turning, violent joints popping with audible cracks, head slamming against walls in frenzied abandon. Blood stains the cobblestones, mixing with sweat and tears as heart attacks fell. The weak strokes twist faces into masks of agony and exhaustion. Claims lives mid-spin, bodies trampled under the relentless feet of the still-moving horde. No pause for the dead, they're stepped over, forgotten in the chaos. The air thick with the coppery tang of blood and the raw musk of exertion. City leaders, desperate and clueless, grasp at secular fixes. They erect stages in the marketplace. Hire musicians to play ceaseless tunes, believing the dancers must sweat it out like a fever. You hear the fiddles screech, drums pounding, like war cries only to fan the flames. The music amplifies the madness, drawing more into the whirl, bodies colliding in a sensual yet savage tangle. A woman's skirt hikes up in her spasms, her skin flush, drawing predatory gazes from onlookers, desire igniting amid the suffering, while a man's arm lashes out, cracking another's rib in accidental violence. Intrigue spreads, whispers of conspiracies, perhaps a rival faction poisoning the wells to sow discord, or a secret cult invoking ancient rites for power. The horror deepens with supernatural suspicions, dancers foaming at the mouth, eyes rolling back as if possessed, claiming visions of St. Vitus looming with wrathful eyes, cursing the vain and blasphemous. You feel the collective terror, the city a tinderbox where faith fractures, priests decrying divine punishment for unspoken sins, festering in Strasbourg's underbelly. No mass graves yet, but the fallen pile up rituals abandoned in the frenzy, the music, a cruel siren call luring more to their doom. Violence erupts unchecked, a dancer's flail shatters a vendor's stall, splintered wood, drawing blood, fights breaking out among spectators, accusing each other of witchcraft. Sensuality weaves through the brutality, a couple locked. In dance, their bodies grinding with charged intensity, breaths hot and ragged, a forbidden passion blooming in the public eye, before exhaustion tears them apart. The authorities' dance it out approach backfires spectacularly, the stages becoming altars of agony, musicians' fingers bleeding from endless play. As weeks drag on, the crisis swells beyond control. No longer a lone woman's quirk, but a communal cataclysm, the streets echoing with moans and thuds, the hypnotic rhythm a dirge for the damned. You stand at the edge, heart pounding, wondering if the madness will claim you, your own limbs twitching in sympathy or fear. You watch as the dancers collapse one by one, their bodies slick with sweat and blood, limbs twitching. In final futile spasms, the secular stages now splintered ruins of failed hope. The music that was meant to cure has become a tormentor's whip, driving the afflicted deeper into agony. And the city's leaders, faces pale with dread, turn to the shadowed spires of the church, the last bastion against this unravelling madness. By August, a month into the plague's grip, the clergy declares it no mere bodily ailment, no hot blood to be danced away, but a scourge of the soul, a divine lash from St. Vitus himself, the martyr saint of convulsions and chaos. You feel the shift in the air, heavy with incense and fear, as medical whispers are silenced, replaced by thunderous sermons decrying vanity, blasphemy, and the hidden sins that fester like wounds in Strasbourg's heart. The theory takes hold like fear. These dancers are cursed by St. Vitus, his wrath manifesting in uncontrollable spasms, a punishment for moral decay in a world teetering on Reformation's edge. You've heard the tales earlier, plagues in Aachen and Metz, smaller but no less terrifying, where limbs jerked, as if pulled by invisible strings, victims begging for release. But here the scale dwarfs them, the terror amplified by famine's hollow eyes and plague's ghostly breath. The church's remedy is drastic, laced with ritual and desperation, pilgrimage and penance, the afflicted herded like damned souls to the shrine of St. Vitus in nearby Saverne. You imagine the procession, a grim caravan of carts groaning under the weight of half-conscious dancers slumped over pack animals, their bodies still quivering with residual rhythm. Some are carried limbs, bound to prevent self-harm, bloodied feet dangling, while others stagger alongside eyes glazed with exhaustion and ecstasy. At the shrine, the rituals unfold in a haze of holy water, and chants the sufferers dressed in crimson shoe soles, etched with sacred crosses, symbolizing the blood of martyrs and the path to redemption. You see them led in solemn circles around the altar, priests sprinkling blessed droplets that sizzle on fevered skin offerings of coins and relics placed before the saints' bones. Sensuality creeps in even here, a dancer's body arching under the touch of holy oil, her sighs mingling with prayers, a forbidden heat rising amid the piety. Violence shadows the rite. Some collapse mid-circuit, bones cracking against stone floors, screams echoing like accusations, while others lash out in delirium fists, connecting with attendants in bursts of raw fury. Intrigue whispers through the clergy, accusations of hidden heretics, fueling the cursed plots to undermine the church by amplifying the madness. Supernatural elements swirl visions of St. Vitus appearing in flames, his gaze predatory, demanding blood. Penance or demonic shadows flitting at the shrine's edges, luring the weak to deeper possession. A few recover, staggering back to Strasbourg with haunted eyes, their steps steady but souls scarred. Others are left behind broken vessels of the saints' will their fates a warning. The intervention is no gentle healing. It's a visceral clash of faith and flesh, where redemption comes laced with pain and mystery. You tread the hushed streets of Strasbourg, the once vibrant square, now a ghost of its frenzied self, the air heavy with the scent of incense and unspoken dread, as the church's grip tightens like a confessor's hand. With secular cures exposed as folly, the clergy unleashes a city-wide purge banning gambling's dice rolls that tempted fate, blasphemy's sharp tongues fined into silence. Secular music silenced as the devil's lure and public dancing outlawed as the ultimate abomination. Sermons roar from pulpits like divine thunder, urging confessions that spill secrets in tear-soaked whispers, acts of charity forced from clenched fists, and renunciations of temptation that leave souls raw and exposed. You sense the transformation, Strasbourg becoming a monastery of fear, its citizens tiptoeing through shadow, eyes darting for signs of lingering curse. The cleansing as visceral guards patrol with torches, smashing illicit loots that once fueled the dance, their strings snapping like breaking bones. Violence erupts in the crackdowns, a gambler's den raided, fists flying in desperate resistance, blood splattering cards as sinners are dragged to stocks. Intrigue festers beneath whispers of corrupt priests, pocketing fines or rival factions using the bands to settle scores, knives, drawn in alleyways over accused blasphemies. Sensuality once amplified in the dance's heat, now simmers, forbidden a stolen embrace in a darkened confessional breaths, hot with defiance, bodies pressing close in secret rebellion against the pious edicts. Supernatural dread permeates reports of ghostly dancers flickering at night, their ethereal forms twisting in mockery, or St. Vitus's relics, glowing with ominous light demanding more penance. The afflicted returned from pilgrimage bear marks scarred feet from red shoes, eyes haunted by visions of divine fury, some relapsing into spasms at the toll of a bell. Slowly, inexplicably, the dancing ebbs. No grand finale, no last waltz under the moon, just fewer convulsions each dawn, the square reclaiming its silence. But relief is fleeting. Fear lingers like fog, citizens eyeing each other, with suspicion, wondering if the curse slumbers or truly flees. The city breathes shallow routines, resuming with mechanical stiffness, bakers kneading dough with trembling hands, markets buzzing with subdued voices. You walk the cobblestones, feeling the echo of footsteps, the weight of unanswered sins pressing down. This purge isn't closure, it's a scar, a reminder of fragility where faith and fear entwine, leaving Strasbourg forever changed, its soul cleansed, but cracked. You delve into the echoes of Strasbourg's silence. The dancing ceased, but the enigma lingering like a half-forgotten nightmare. No army or disaster to blame, just hundreds compelled to move until their hearts burst in a symphony of unexplained agony. Historians and psychologists centuries later sift through faded records, unearthing a theory that chills with its familiarity mass psychogenic illness, or mass hysteria, where the mind under crushing stress hijacks the body in a collective delusion. You imagine it a group teetering on despair's edge, their symptoms manifesting without poison or pathogen, the psyche's revolt amplified across a terrified community. It fits the fractured world of 1518 famine, gnawing at bellies, plagues, reaping souls, social unrest, bubbling like a cauldron, dozens of children lost to starvation's cruel hand. The Reformation's winds howl, fear of eternal damnation spiking belief in curses and saints twisting every twitch into omen. Frau Troffea's initial dance. A spark in this tinderbox, her movements interpreted not as illness, but as warning minds primed by trauma latching on bodies following in a chain of mimicked madness. Sensuality emerges in the frenzied dancers' bodies pressing close hips, grinding in hypnotic rhythm. A charged eroticism born of released inhibitions while violence erupts. convulsions turning aggressive limbs flailing into brutal collisions, blood. On in the throng, supporters point to parallels nun convents where sisters barked like beasts possessed by shared delusion. Towns plagued by invisible bites, screams rippling contagious. Villages where laughter or hysteria spread like fire. No toxin, just collective fear forging symptoms. In each, no infection, only belief's iron grip. Yet doubts gnaw. Why did some dance to death, bodies enduring beyond limits? Why Strasbourg alone when neighbouring towns groaned under similar yokes? The theory frames but doesn't seal, leaving room for the primal unknown. Intrigue layers in perhaps political machinations, reformers exploiting the chaos to undermine Catholic hold whispers of staged afflictions, fueling power plays. Supernatural folklore blends visions of demons puppeteering limbs, saints' curses manifesting as dance, adding eerie depth to the psychological storm. Modern echoes amplify the terror, school fainting spells, workplace phantom sicknesses, all rooted in stress's shadow. Strasbourg isn't medieval relic, it's mirror to our fragility where fear overrides flesh madness, a shared spectre waiting for the right crack to pour through. You probe beyond hysteria's veil, seeking a tangible villain in Strasbourg's dance of death. Turning to biology's dark corners where a fungal toxin ergot lurks, a suspect poisoning. Not minds alone, but blood and brain. This parasite thrives on rye in damp, warm summers, like 1518 sodden misery. Its alkaloids akin to LSD, unleashing hallucinations, convulsions, twitching and skin-crawling horrors that mirror the dancer's jerks and spasms. You envision contaminated bread staple of the starving masses, ingested unknowingly, sparking erratic movements that spread in a chemical haze. At first it aligns eerily symptoms of jerking limbs, lost control, even a surreal sensuality in the drugged euphoria, bodies writhing with heightened intensity, desires amplified in the toxin's grip. Known as St. Anthony's fire ergotism scorched medieval Europe, burning limbs with fire-like pain, but here perhaps a variant fueling energetic frenzy over collapse. Food shortages meant mouldy loaves devoured no waste in hunger's maw. Yet cracks appear ergot typically stiffen seizes, not sustains rhythmic dance for days. Victims vomit, develop gangrene blackened limbs, rotting none reported in Strasbourg's accounts. Geography puzzles too if tainted grain. Why no outbreaks in nearby hamlets sharing the same fields? Violence in the theory's gaps. Dancers' leaps, dislocating joints. But ergot spasms lack coordination, more seizure than step. Intrigue suggests sabotage, perhaps a rival poisoning supplies to destabilize the city. Political betrayal laced into the bread. Supernatural ties persist, folklore blaming elf shot or cursed harvests, ergot's effects seen as demonic invasion bodies twisting in otherworldly torment. Researchers propose hybrids mild ergot sparking neurological fire in a population cracked by starvation, and fear the fungus dulling barriers, blurring reality into hallucinatory dance. Psychological contagion igniting the rest. A chemical conductor for communal madness. Fascinating yet uncertain as no direct evidence survives, no preserved loaves, no autopsy scars. Strasbourg's plague defies neat boxes, ergot a piece in the puzzle, but the force striking with primal fury hints at something older untamed mould or mind it devoured the city from within. You immerse yourself in the tormented psyche of 1518 Strasbourg, where fear, faith and folklore blur into a tapestry of terror life, a brutal mosaic of short violent days, explained not by science but by saints' whims and demonic schemes. The church's iron hold dictates every breath, prayers for rain, fertility, healing, but always laced with dread, for if saints bless, they curse with equal fervour. St. Vitus looms largest, his legacy of involuntary tremors, a medieval spectre, tales circulating of St. Vitus's dance, striking sinners with spasms until collapse or death bodies twisted in divine retribution. Frau Trophea's first steps ignite this tinder not illness but omen. her convulsions, a saint's wrath for vanity or secret sins. You feel the contagion of belief, seeing the cursed spreads the curse of psychological venom in a society soaked in myth. Minds fragile from famine and plague convince bodies to dance overriding exhaustion in a hypnotic surrender where faith harms as much as heals. Sensuality infuses the folklore dancers' bodies, undulating with eerie grace. Hips and limbs moving in charged rhythm, forbidden desires surfacing in the possession, lovers drawn into the whirl, their touches electric amid the agony. Violence threads through convulsions, turning savage flailing arms, cracking skulls, blood rituals demanded to appease the saint. Intrigue deepens rumours of spiritual sabotage, heretics invoking Vitus to sow chaos, political betrayals masked as divine punishment. Supernatural elements dominate visions of Vitus in flames, his gaze predatory, or demons puppeteering from shadows, luring souls with whispers of ecstasy and ruin. The pilgrimage rituals embody this mindset. Red shoes symbolising blood penance, circles around relics reenacting the dance to reset the curse, holy water searing skin like acid. Belief cures some their steps, steadying in faith's grip, but harms others, minds shattering under the weight. In this era, belief isn't choice. Its lens for every shadow, twitch, scream when it snaps from reason. Reality fractures the dance, a manifestation of collective dread. Strasbourg's plague sits at history's shadowy crossroads where superstition fuels the fire, human fragility exposed in every compelled step. You reflect on Strasbourg's enduring enigma, the 1518 dancing plague, a dark fable resisting tidy resolution perched between myth and history, science and superstition, a city's loss of bodily sovereignty and collective helplessness. No war or visible foe yet, breakdown ripples through records fragmented by era's lens, parish notes, decrees, eyewitnesses filtered through saints and demons. Modern lenses overlay hysteria or ergot, but flatten the raw horror belief, compelling dance without choice, a mirror to our own vulnerabilities and panic's viral spread. The plague wasn't isolated. Coromania outbreaks dotted Europe. Aachen 1374's screaming dancers, Metz and Cologne's crying throngs, all clergy blamed divine ire, march to shrines in futile hope. Patterns emerge, stressed regions, post-war plague famine. Victims, poor, devout, uneducated, their world offering spectacle as protest, a voiceless scream against oppression where dissent meant death. Violence in these episodes spasms, turning lethal bodies battered in the throng. Sensuality, too, dances charged with erotic frenzy, forbidden passions unleashed. Intrigue suggests cultural rebellion, marginalised voices, women leading the world, defying patriarchal chains through illness. Supernatural binds them, curses crossing borders, primal forces defying logic. No single theory fits, some ergot-tainted, others panic-fueled, or a few neurological misfires, but treatment as moral crises unites Strasbourg, the most tragic archive. Today it echoes, could it recur? It has 1962 Tanganyika's compulsive laughter shutting schools, no cause but contagion. 2006. New York's tick outbreak, stress sparked, blamed on toxins but psychogenic. Mechanics mirror pressure, belief bodies rebelling. Our digital age amplifies fear, viraling faster than fax misinformation, igniting hysterias in online squares. Strasbourg warns of mind's fragility, unseen forces of stress and contagion ever present, waiting for spark. The rhythm evolves, but madness endures, hauntingly familiar.